All right, folks out there in YouTube land, we've got an interesting show lined up for you here. I got my bro Chillmont, and we're going to continue down this series because the reality is we've received additional evidence on what's going on with these refs, that things are just getting out of hand. Now, we talked about yesterday how we are dealing with this ridiculous situation that's really unprecedented, is that we've had one live game penalty in our last 3 away games, which includes Florida. We had one holding call at Florida in the first quarter, none the rest of the game. So you think, okay, that's kind of weird, only one call. Then the next game against Alabama, which was at Tuscaloosa, 0 live game penalties on them, even though I've shown you pictures of our Tyler Barron getting his head put into a headlock by the tackle right before Jalen Milroe threw a touchdown, which changed the momentum of the game. And then we went to Kentucky, another up in Lexington, 0 live game penalties in that game as well. We have something additional to talk about with that Kentucky game that we're going to get into here in a moment. But let's start out with that because, like I said, I've kind of covered this. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But let's get into the Kentucky time clock operator. Now, in this story, it says, now this is by Zach Reagan, one of my favorite writers. He just does a great job. Now, Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel threw some subtle shade during the Vol calls after UT was bamboozled yet again. Zach writes right here, he said, despite the moans that we'll likely hear from opposing fan bases, I've heard plenty. It was actually a very justified comment. It says, near the end of the first half of Tennessee's win, and I remember this well, you probably do as well, win against Kentucky, the Vols had to settle for a field goal instead of taking one last shot at the end zone due to a mistake by the clock operator and the officials.
Just kidding.
A mistake. Oh, what a terrible accident.
And actually, we can just get into this right here. If you'll remember, Squirrel White caught a pass, which was a first down.
Okay.
It's under 2 minutes in the first half. That clock should immediately stop. It ran all the way down to 6 seconds. It was at 10 when he hit the ground. So we should have had 10 seconds, which would have given Joe Milton ample time to throw a pass into the end zone or make another and go for another opportunity to score a touchdown. We were unable to do that because they moved it to 7 seconds instead of 10. That 3 seconds is huge. So yet again, we've got a situation where the clock operator made a mistake. The officials didn't correct it. And we're sitting here, instead of possibly getting another 4 points before halftime, which would have obviously increased the momentum, we have to settle for a field goal because the clock operator at Kentucky made a mistake.
Sure, Jan.
When do these mistakes like this ever go in our favor?
Josh Heupel tried to get them to take a look at it, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, because you can't, there's no such thing as instant replay. There's no such thing as a replay official or anything like that. If it had been the other way, you think they'd have reviewed it? You think they'd have
first
stopped?
of all, had it been the other way, the mistake wouldn't have been made.
No, that's true. Actually, they'd have stopped the clock before he was tackled. And
there
would have been 13 seconds on the clock instead of 10.
Yeah, at least 12 seconds. They'd have probably added 10 more.
So, clock operator, please add another 10 seconds just because we feel like it.
There are people out there that say there's no way that clock operator would do something like that. Those Kentucky folks, they wouldn't do anything like that.
Sure,
okay,
Mike, sure.
Okay. Look, I'm hearing you on that. But let me show you what a fellow for the Kentucky Sports Radio thinks about the Vols. And then maybe you might have a little different opinion.
I hate Tennessee because they are low down, they're dirty, they're snitches. We don't like to generalize here, but Tennessee fans are collectively the worst group of humans ever.
How dare you?
I think ever. Assume Drew Franklin, is that fair?
They're number one on my power rankings, that's for sure.
2 hours later.
The Joe Milton catastrophic mistake never happened. It's the first time in his life that it hasn't happened. And now stuck here, Mark Stoops is 2-9 against this team. And to walk around this place before the game, I was disgusted. The smugness of those guys just walking around like,
is that like a personal attack or something?
We're going to walk in here, we're going to kick your ass, and you can't do anything about it. And it made me sick. And you know what? They did it. They still did it. What the hell? Can we just beat this team? I know that Mark Stoops has done a lot of good things. This is his one really bad thing. The stupid stat about beating teams with a winning record and taking the next step and blah blah. Just freaking beat Tennessee, please. Can we just stop losing to this stupid team with their stupid orange colors, their stupid song, and their woo, get their woo on out of here.
That's awesome. No, you can't beat us because you're Kentucky. And last time you beat us, who was it? Was it Jones was coach or Dooley?
Oh no, I didn't. They beat Pruitt one year, didn't they?
Oh, that's right. They did beat Pruitt one year.
I think they beat him in the pandemic year. I think
that's right. We went 3-7 that year. That's when we fired his worthless butt. But yeah, I mean that's.
So if anybody out there thinks,
yeah, they're just awesome fans, and Tennessee are just horrible. Yeah.
So if anybody out there thinks they wouldn't make that clock go a few seconds quicker,
oh my gosh, they do it in a heartbeat.
You just saw how they feel about us,
and that's it. And even the sports writers are saying he was clearly down with 10 seconds left, and in the overall scheme of things, 3 seconds. I mean, at the end of the half, it matters, but in the overall scheme of things, it's not going to be life changing, but still, it's just a part of this crap where we keep getting screwed over, and I'm so sick of it. I mean, this kind of crap never happens to the opposing team; it only happens to us. Well, this kind of crap, and I'm sick of it because the SEC or the NCAA or whoever it is or the referee organization is obviously doesn't want us to win. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just obvious at this point. You know what it's like, John? It's like if we were playing poker together and I'm dealing and I deal myself not 1, not 2, but 3 straight flushes in a row.
5 and 7 of spades. A straight flush.
What are you going to think? You're cheating.
Yeah, it seems literally impossible that could happen 3 times.
And even the one time, even the Alabama game, it's like that can't happen. Because there's holding every play. You can literally call holding every single play because they're coached to hold until the refs won't let them get away with it.
Well, and the problem is when they're not calling the holds, they're going to hold more.
The other thing is how many drives of ours did it stall when we got the penalty and how many drives of theirs did it continue when they didn't?
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
All right, folks, now we're going to move on to, I want to talk a little bit about Michigan with everything that's going on there, because it's gotten a little bit crazier, and I'm going to let Chilmont respond to this because this is pretty darn interesting. And this is a report by Pete Thamel that the Big Ten coaches urge action versus Michigan in call. And I mean, they were ticked. Right here it says, and I'm going to go over this very quickly, Chilmont, so you can respond. It says, collectively, the coaches want the Big Ten to act right now, said a source familiar with the call. What are we waiting on? We know what happened. Said coaches used words like tainted, fraudulent, and unprecedented. They're furious. Signal stealing scheme has been alleged. Well, I think they pretty well know. And they also talked about how when Stallion showed up, the winning percentage went from 69% to 91%. They went from 21-11 to 33-3 the following
Nothing else changed. Nothing else changed.
Yeah. And it says people don't understand the seriousness of it. Another source said how it truly impacted the game. Truly, he said, if you know it's a run or a pass, people don't understand how much of an advantage that was for Michigan. There was anger. There was anger throughout the call. And every game they played is tainted, according to another source. All right. So obviously the Big Ten coaches are furious and they want him dealt with. What do you think about that, Chili?
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, wouldn't you be furious? And you know he was there. You got video showing he was there at that Michigan State game and at the Ohio State game, and they were obviously stealing the play calling signs.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
There was no looking at the offense. Okay, how they set up? How have they spread the receivers? How have they lined up on the offensive line? How have the running backs lined up? No, nothing like that. They stood there waiting, looking for the Ohio State sideline to make the play call. And the quarterback for Ohio State was sitting there looking at the sidelines. And the instant he turned and got the call and turned, every coach on the sideline of Michigan held up a hand to signal the defense what the play was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And the
pretty
main
obvious.
one, the first one was that dude,
Yeah.
the sign stealer guy,
The sign stealer guy.
standing right next to the defensive coordinator.
Now, let me show you what Connor Stallions also did, because you don't know about this, I do not believe. All right, this is pretty obvious. All right, see that, Wilmot? See that, Chilmont, right there? See that blue light and the sunglasses?
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, he's wearing sunglasses at night. The reason being, that's a recording device, sunglasses. That's what that is.
It's
In my
a
opinion, I
video.
think everybody thinks that.
Oh, what was that? Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons that had the thing that
Oh,
was.
yeah, he might be a – oh.
Attention humans. Hyper speed offense has become a concern for the Cylon Empire. No human should move that fast. Error.
But yeah, that guy is a regular James Bond. He's a master of disguises. And
Oh, yeah.
he was obviously wearing his little sunglasses, had his Central Michigan shirt and hat on. I mean, he thought he was like, man, I am doing it. I am living life.
He's like he must be like Q from James Bond. He's got all the gadgets, and he's got I think he had a phone in his shoe. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's obvious what's happened there.
Are you sure?
I mean, they can sit there and deny it all day, but that's ridiculous. There's so much proof out there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. We just wanted to talk a little bit about, once again, the conspiracy against the Vols. I'm Mr. Neutral on that, but I'm starting to move towards Chilmont on that, because he's starting to convince me when I keep seeing more and more evidence of how we are getting creeped by the refs.
Got the evidence. Put the evidence in the car. Put the evidence in the car.
And now by a clock operator. And I remember seeing that during the game, and it's like, why didn't that get fixed? So I'm glad that was brought out to people's attention. And obviously, Coach Heupel didn't appreciate that crap. Go ahead.
One quick thing, John. We've got Connecticut at home. That should be an easy win. And then we go on the road to a difficult Missouri team. I just wonder if Missouri will commit a penalty.
Oh, that's a good question. See, I think there'll be plenty of penalties in the Connecticut game just to kind of.
Yes, because that's a home game,
down a
and
little
it doesn't matter, and they're an easy win.
We'll probably get one penalty called on Missouri just so everybody can say, well, see, we called a penalty. So
Yeah.
we'll probably we'll get one call.
Yeah, and we'll get 10.
Well, probably. But
Yeah.
at least they can go, see, we threw the penalty. We threw it.
Yeah. And we did it in the first quarter when it totally didn't matter, but yeah.
They'll wait till the fourth quarter till the game's almost over, one way or the other, and then they'll start calling penalties on whichever. All right, folks, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. That helps me out. And if you've not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's right there in the corner. And there's also a video that YouTube thinks you'll like based on your viewing history. And Chilmont and I will see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
Bambi says bye too.
And Bambi would definitely hit the like button. Definitely.